Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a world where the air hums with the faint scent of coal smoke, where your breath catches in a corset's tight embrace, where every choice you make is watched, judged and measured. Welcome to our story tonight, a gentle journey into 1860, where you'll wake as Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in Victorian England. Before we slip into her world, if you enjoy drifting off to tales like this, consider subscribing to our channel. It's a small gesture that helps us weave more stories to carry you to sleep. Now, settle in. Fluff your pillows, let the modern world fade away. Let's begin. Imagine the softest whisper of dawn, a grey light creeping through thin, tattered curtains. You stir, your body heavy, not on the familiar comfort of your modern bed, but on something lumpy, uneven like a sack stuffed with straw and secrets. The air is cold, bitingly so, seeping into your bones, making your teeth chatter softly. This isn't the gentle chill of an open window in your own time. It's a deep, penetrating cold that wraps around you like an unwelcome guest. You're not in your world anymore. You're in 1860 in a small, high-ceilinged room in London, and you are Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman of the middle class, bound by the rules of Victorian society. The mattress beneath you creaks as you shift, its straw filling poking through the coarse linen, prickling your skin. The pillow under your head is hard, lumpy, with a faint, musty scent of mildew that lingers in your nose. You blink into the dimness, your eyes adjusting to the weak light filtering through the window. The room is small, smaller than you're used to, its walls adorned with peeling wallpaper. And there, catching your eye, is the paper itself, gorgeous, emerald green, shimmering faintly in the dawn. But a shiver runs through you, not from the cold, but from a memory that doesn't belong to this body. That green, so fashionable, so admired, is laced with arsenic. Yes, arsenic. The poison seeping into the air you're breathing right now. Particles so fine they drift unnoticed, settling into your lungs with every breath. Victorian homes, you recall, were often decorated with this deadly hue, Shields green, named for the chemist who perfected its vibrant shade. Articles in the Lancet warned of its dangers as early as the 1850s, linking it to illnesses, even deaths, but here it is, wrapping your room in its toxic embrace. You want to leap from the bed, to tear the paper from the walls, but your body doesn't move. It's as if Eleanor's instincts, her Victorian conditioning, hold you in place, accustomed to this danger as just another part of life. A soft knock at the door startles you. "Miss Eleanor, are you awake?" The voice is young, hesitant, belonging to Clara, a maid barely more than a girl, dressed in a plain grey frock, white cap and apron. Her presence is jarring. "A maid? You have a maid? We must hurry, miss. Your mother expects you downstairs for breakfast in 1 hour, and we have much to do." Your mouth opens to ask what's happening, but instead, words you didn't choose spill out. "Yes, Clara, please prepare my wash water." The words feel foreign, automatic, as if Eleanor's voice knows its role while your modern mind scrambles to catch up. Clara nods, moving to a ceramic pitcher and basin in the corner, and you realize with a sinking feeling there's no bathroom here. No toilet, no shower, just that small basin of cold water. "It's quite chilly this morning, miss. I've added a touch of rose water to your wash as you prefer," Clara says, pouring the water with care. You've never cared about rose water in your life, yet somehow you know exactly how this works. Your body moves on its own, sitting up in bed, accepting the damp cloth Clara hands you. The cloth is cold, barely wet, and you dab your face and neck in the freezing air, your skin prickling with goosebumps. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. In 1860, before antibiotics, before modern medicine, a simple cold could turn deadly. You're sitting here, half exposed in a frigid room, dabbing yourself with icy water, and you shiver uncontrollably. "The fire's catching nicely now, miss," Clara says, tending a small fireplace in the corner. The flames are pitiful, barely warming the air around them, let alone the room. You glance at the fireplace, its faint crackle a meager defense against the cold, and wonder how anyone survives this. Clara lays out an array of bottles, jars, and strange implements on a wooden dressing table, and you realize your morning routine is about to begin. "Shall we start your toilet, miss?" She asks, and you nod though the word feels alien. Toilet, your beauty regimen, and judging by the tools before you, it's going to be a production. Is that the arsenic cream? You hear yourself ask, your voice calm despite the horror in your mind. Yes, Miss Doctor. Fowler's arsenic compaction wafers as you requested. The apothecary says they're perfectly safe, just a small amount to clear the blood. Clara replies, her tone matter of fact. You're about to eat arsenic. For breakfast. A part of you, the part steeped in Eleanor's Victorian knowledge, isn't even surprised. Pale skin is everything here, a sign of wealth, of beauty, of not toiling in the sun like the working class. Tan skin is unthinkable, a mark of labor, of poverty. If swallowing a pinch of poison achieves the perfect pallor, well, beauty is pain, isn't it? Perhaps just have a wafer today. Clara, you say, your body's instinct for self-preservation kicking in. Clara nods, breaking a small wafer and handing it to you. The taste is chalky, bitter, lingering on your tongue like a warning. You swallow, and your modern mind screams at the madness of it. The Lancet in 1858 reported cases of arsenic poisoning from beauty products, yet here you are, following the fashion of the day. Clara moves on to the next step. Your belladonna drops, miss, she says, holding a tiny glass dropper. Your heart lurches. Belladonna, deadly nightshade, a poison used to dilate pupils, giving women the wide-eyed, doe-like look Victorian men found irresistible. You know from medical journals of the time that it causes blurred vision, headaches, even blindness in extreme cases. Just a small drop in each eye, you hear yourself say, as if this is routine. Clara approaches, and you flinch as the liquid touches your cornea. The burn is immediate, sharp like a needle in your eye. Tears stream down your face, and for a moment, you fear permanent damage. But the burning settles, and when you blink, the world is hazy. Dreamlike, you catch your reflection in a small, cloudy mirror on the dressing table. Your pupils are enormous, dark pools that make you look perpetually startled, vulnerable. By Victorian standards, you're stunning. By modern standards, you're poisoning yourself for beauty. Clara removes your nightcap, revealing hair that hasn't been washed in weeks. Victorian wisdom, drawn from medical texts like those by Dr. William Banting, warned that frequent hair washing strips natural oils, so instead, Clara brushes it vigorously. 100 strokes, as was customary. Each stroke pulls at your tender scalp, the bristles like tiny knives, but you sit still, enduring it. What choice do you have now, miss? We must dress you before the compaction cream dries. Clara says, moving to a wardrobe filled with layers of fabric and steel. Dressing in 1860 is no simple task. It's a ritual, a battle, a test of endurance. First comes the chemise, a loose cotton shift that falls to your knees, soft but cold against your skin. Then the drawers, open-crotched for ease with chamber pots, a detail that makes your modern sensibilities recoil. And then, the corset, the sight of it whalebone and steel, designed to crush your waist to an impossible size makes your ribcage ache preemptively. Arms up, miss, Clara instructs and you obey. Lifting your arms as she wraps the corset around your torso, she begins lacing from behind, each tug tightening the grip, squeezing your lungs, your stomach, your very breath. I can't breathe, you gasp, your voice faint. Just a bit tighter, miss. Your waist was 19 inches at Lady Langley's ball last week. Mrs. Langley's daughter was 18 and a half. Your mother was most displeased, Clara says. Her hands steady, relentless. Each pull feels like a vice clamping your organs. Medical reports from the British Medical Journal in the 1860s documented corset-related injuries, deformed ribs, displaced livers, fainting spells, but here, it's normal. Your body, trained since childhood, adjusts to shallow, chest-only breaths. Deep breathing is impossible. You'll faint if you try to move too quickly. There we are, 19 inches exactly, Clara says, tying off the laces with satisfaction. You glance down, barely recognizing your own body. Your waist is unnaturally small, your chest pushed up dramatically, an exaggerated hourglass no human should naturally have. The crinoline comes next, a cage of steel hoops that holds your skirts. Out in a bell shape, heavy, awkward, making doorways a challenge. Petticoats follow, layer upon layer, and then the dress itself. A deep blue morning gown with long sleeves and a high collar. Its fabric heavy enough to make 3 modern dresses. The weight of it all is crushing, a mobile prison of cloth and steel. You stumble to the mirror, nearly tripping over the crinoline. The face staring back is pale, gaunt, with dark-ringed eyes unnaturally large from the belladonna. You look beautiful by 1860 standards. You also look like you're slowly dying, which, in a way, you are. Your gloves, miss, Clara says, handing you pristine white gloves, and your hat must be pinned securely. The hat is small, decorative, useless against sun or cold, secured with sharp steel pins that could double as weapons. Your mother is waiting, miss. Lady Langley commented on your posture last week. Shoulders back, chin up. You try to take a deep breath to steady yourself, but the corset allows only a shallow gasp. Clara reaches for a bottle on the dressing table. Your rose water mouthwash, miss, for fresh breath. You swish the liquid, expecting something normal, but a metallic tang cuts through the rose scent. You spit into the basin and see a faint blue tinge. Is there copper in this? You ask, horrified. Just a touch, miss. The latest fashion from Paris for brightness of eyes and complexion. Clara replies as if it's nothing. You're ingesting copper now, alongside arsenic, belladonna, and whatever else is in your face powder. You glance out the window where a thick, yellow-brown fog obscures the streets below. The London pea souper, a toxic mix of coal smoke and pollution documented in Charles Dickens' Bleak House, kills thousands yearly from respiratory diseases. Everything here there, the beauty products, the clothes seems designed to harm you. Miss, your mother is waiting, Clara says, urging you toward the door. You straighten as much as the corset allows, lift your chin and prepare to face the day. One moment, Clara, you say, pausing. I feel a bit faint. Perfectly normal, miss, she replies cheerfully. The ladies' magazines say a delicate constitution is most becoming. Lady Langley's daughter fainted thrice at the winter ball. Most elegant, they said. You stare at her, disbelief warring with exhaustion. Fainting, a medical emergency from lack of oxygen, is attractive here, a sign of femininity so fragile it can't sustain consciousness. You make your way to the narrow staircase, careful not to trip on the crinoline or catch your sleeves. The day has barely begun, and already you feel trapped in a beautiful, poisonous cage. What lies ahead? Breakfast, family expectations, and a world of suffocating rules waits to test you further. As you descend, you can't help but think of your modern mornings, rolling out of bed, pulling on comfortable clothes, free to move, to breathe, to exist. Here, in 1860, every step is a performance, every moment a brush with danger. And this is only the beginning. Imagine surviving this, day after day, as Victorian women did, with the quiet strength you're only starting to understand. Now, as you drift toward sleep, picture that staircase, the soft creak of wood under your feet, the faint glow of gaslight below. What awaits Eleanor next? Could you endure her world? Let that question linger as we pause here, ready to step deeper into her day when you return. Picture yourself seated at a small wooden dressing table, the cold of the room still clinging to your skin, the faint crackle of a struggling fire doing little to warm the air. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in 1860 London, caught in a world where beauty is not just a desire but a dangerous obligation, a daily ritual that could steal your breath, your sight, even your life. As we continue our gentle journey into this Victorian day, let the soft glow of gaslight and the distant hum of a waking city lull you into a state of calm. If you're finding comfort in this tale, drifting toward sleep with each word, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more stories that carry you gently into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let your breath slow, and imagine the weight of Eleanor's world pressing softly against you. Let's step into her morning, where beauty comes at a perilous cost. Your heart still races from the arsenic wafer you swallowed moments ago, its chalky bitterness lingering on your tongue like a whispered warning. Clara, your maid, moves with quiet efficiency, her plain grey dress rustling as she arranges an array of bottles, jars, and strange implements on the dressing table before you. The mirror, small and slightly clouded, reflects your face, pale and unfamiliar. Your eyes wide with unease. You're about to begin your toilet, the Victorian term for a morning beauty routine. But this is no simple wash and brush. It's a meticulous, hazardous performance, each step a brush with poison. Each choice a balance between society's expectations and your body's survival. Clara's hands, calloused from years of service, pick up a small glass vial. Its label faded but legible. Your belladonna drops, miss, she says, her voice soft, almost reverent, as if handling a sacred relic. You know what belladonna is deadly nightshade, a plant so toxic that even a small dose could blur your vision, cloud your mind, or, in the worst cases, stop your heart. Medical journals of the time, like those published in the Lancet in 1859, warned of its dangers, noting cases of women suffering headaches, dizziness, even blindness from overuse. Yet here in 1860, it's a staple of beauty used to dilate pupils, giving your eyes a wide, vulnerable look that Victorian men find irresistible. Just a small drop in each eye, miss, you hear yourself say, your voice calm, automatic, as if Eleanor's body knows this ritual by heart. Your modern mind recoils, screaming at the madness, but your hands remain steady, holding the mirror as Clara approaches with the dropper. The liquid touches your cornea and a sharp, searing burn spreads, like a spark igniting in your eye. You gasp, tears welling instantly, streaming down your cheeks, stinging as they mix with the poison. For a moment, panic grips you. Will you go blind? Will this be the drop that pushes you too far? The burning lingers, a cruel reminder of the price of beauty, but slowly it fades, leaving your vision hazy, the edges of the room softened as if in a dream. You blink, and the mirror shows a stranger staring back, your pupils enormous, dark pools that make you look perpetually startled, fragile, exactly as society demands. By Victorian standards, you're breathtaking. By modern standards, you're poisoning yourself for a fleeting ideal. Clara, unfazed, moves to the next step. Your face powder, miss, she says, opening a small tin labeled Dr. Campbell's finest compaction powder. The powder is fine, almost silken, but you know its secret. Lead, ground into a soft white dust, is the key ingredient, promising a flawless porcelain compaction. The British Medical Journal in 1860 reported cases of lead poisoning from cosmetics. Symptoms ranging from tremors to organ failure. Yet, it's as common in Victorian dressing rooms as perfume is in yours. Clara dips a soft puff into the tin, and you sit still as she dusts it across your face, the powder settling like a delicate veil, masking any hint of natural color. Your skin, already pale from the arsenic, takes on an ethereal glow, but each breath draws tiny particles into your lungs, a slow poison you can't escape. The powder feels cool, almost soothing, but the knowledge of its danger makes your stomach churn. You want to protest, to push the tin away, but Eleanor's instincts hold you fast, trained to accept this as the price of propriety. Just a touch more, miss, to even the tone, Clara murmurs, her hands gentle but relentless. You nod, your throat tight, as she continues, the mirror reflecting a face that's less yours with every passing second. The routine isn't over. Clara reaches for a small pot of rouge, a subtle pink paste made, you suspect, with carmine derived from crushed insects, though some formulas, as noted in contemporary apothecary records, mix in mercury for extra vibrancy. Mercury, another poison known to cause kidney damage and nervous tremors, as documented in medical texts of the era. Clara applies it sparingly to your cheeks, her fingers careful to avoid smudging the lead powder. Not too much, miss. Your mother says a lady's color must look natural, she says, her voice a soothing hum. The irony isn't lost on you. Nothing about this is natural. Your face is a canvas of toxins, each layer a step closer to illness, yet to the world outside, you're crafting perfection. You swallow hard, the taste of arsenic still faint on your tongue, and wonder how Victorian women endured this, knowing the risks yet pressing forward. Beauty manuals like The Arts of Beauty by Madame Lola Montez, published in the 1850s, openly discussed these dangers, yet urged women to pursue pale skin and bright eyes at all costs. Society demanded it, and you, as Eleanor, have no choice but to comply. Next comes your hair, a task as grueling as it is meticulous. Clara removes your nightcap, revealing long, unwashed strands tangled from sleep. In 1860, frequent hair washing is considered unhealthy, a belief rooted in medical advice from figures like Dr. Erasmus Wilson, who claimed it stripped essential oils and weakened the scalp. Instead, your hair is brushed vigorously, 100 strokes each night, to distribute those oils and maintain a glossy sheen. Clara takes up a heavy wooden brush, its bristles worn, but sharp, and begins, each stroke pulling at your tender scalp. A rhythmic scrape that's both painful and hypnotic. 1, 2, 3. She counts softly, her voice blending with the brush's soft thud against your hair. The pain is constant, a dull ache that radiates across your head, but you sit still, your body trained to endure. By the 50th stroke, your scalp feels raw, each bristle like a tiny blade. But Clara's hands are steady, her focus unwavering. You think of modern shampoos, of hot showers, of the ease of caring for yourself without this daily ordeal, and a pang of longing hits you. But here, in this cold room, with the arsenic wallpaper glowing faintly in the morning light, this is your reality. The brushing continues, the count climbing to 100, and your hair, now smooth and gleaming, falls in heavy waves over your shoulders. Clara begins to pin it up, her fingers deft as she twists it into a tight chignon, securing it with steel pins that prick your scalp with every adjustment. "Almost done, miss," she says, her voice a gentle anchor in the haze of your discomfort. The pins are sharp, their points grazing your skin, and you wonder, fleetingly, if they could be weapons in a pinch, a thought that feels absurdly rebellious in this tightly controlled world. The hair routine complete, Clara steps back to admire her work, but there's no time to linger. "We must finish your toilet before your mother calls, miss," she says, moving to a small vial of rose water. This, at least, seems harmless, a floral scent to mask the day's inevitable odors. You swish it in your mouth, expecting relief, but a metallic tang cuts through the sweetness, sharp and unsettling. You spit into the basin, and the water is tinged faintly blue. "Is there copper in this?" you ask, your voice sharp with alarm. "Just a touch, miss. The latest fashion from Paris for brightness of eyes and complexion," Clara replies, her tone calm, as if ingesting metal is as normal as drinking tea. You stare at the basin, horrified, your modern knowledge screaming that copper sulfate, used in some Victorian toiletries, could cause nausea, even liver damage, as noted in apothecary warnings of the time. Yet Clara's expression is serene, her hands already moving to the next task, and you realize this is just another part of the day, another poison accepted in the name of beauty. The dressing table is a battlefield now, littered with the tools of your transformation vials of belladonna, tins of lead powder, pots of mercury-laced rouge, a brush still worn from its 100 strokes. You're surrounded by danger, each item a reminder of the lengths Victorian women went to meet society's demands. The air thick with the faint chemical scent of your cosmetics mingles with the musty odor of the room, and you feel a wave of dizziness, whether from the arsenic, the belladonna, or the sheer weight of this routine. You can't tell. Clara notices your sway. "Steady, miss. It's just the early hour. A sip of tea will set you right," she says, her voice a soothing balm. You nod, though you know no tea will undo the poison coursing through you. The fireplace, still struggling to warm the room, casts flickering shadows across the green wallpaper, and you can't shake the knowledge that even the walls are against you. Arsenic in wallpaper, as reported in the Times in 1857, was linked to chronic illnesses, yet it remained a popular choice for its vibrant color. You're living in a poison box, decorated to dazzle, but deadly all the same. Clara begins to prepare your skin for the final touches, applying a thin layer of cold cream, a mixture of beeswax and oils to seal in the powder. This, at least, is harmless, one of the few products not laced with toxins. As described in contemporary beauty guides, the cream feels cool, almost comforting, as Clara's fingers glide across your cheeks. But the relief is fleeting. You catch your reflection again, and the face staring back is a mask pale, perfect, unnatural. Your eyes, unnaturally large from the belladonna, seem to belong to someone else, someone fragile, someone who exists only to be seen. "You look lovely, miss," Clara says, stepping back to survey her work. "Your mother will be pleased." The mention of your mother, Beatrice Whitmore, sends a fresh wave of unease through you. You know, from Eleanor's memories, that she's a woman of exacting standards, always comparing you to Isabel Langley, the daughter of a wealthier family, whose perfection haunts your every step. You're expected downstairs soon, for a breakfast where every glance, every word will be judged. But for now, you're still here, trapped in this room, in this body, in this routine that feels like a slow descent into danger. Clara moves to the wardrobe, pulling out the layers that will complete your transformation into a proper Victorian lady. "We'll start with the chemise, miss," she says, holding up a loose cotton shift. Its fabric soft but cold against your skin. You slip it on, the chill of the room making you shiver as the thin material settles over your shoulders. Next come the drawers, loose cotton shorts with an open crotch, a design that feels both practical and mortifying, meant to make using chamber pots easier in a world without modern plumbing. You try not to think about it, but the reality is unavoidable. Every aspect of this life is designed to constrain, to control, to remind you of your place. Clara's hands are gentle but firm as she prepares the corset, the true instrument of torture. It's a rigid contraption of whalebone and steel, its laces gleaming in the dim light, ready to reshape your body into the ideal hourglass. "Arms up, miss," she says, and you obey, lifting your arms as she wraps the corset around your torso. The first tug of the laces steals your breath, a sharp pressure that squeezes your ribs, your stomach, your very life. "I can't breathe," you gasp, your voice barely a whisper. "Just a bit tighter, miss. Your waist was 19 inches at Lady Langley's ball last week. Mrs. Langley's daughter was 18 and a half. Your mother was most displeased," Clara says, her hands pulling steadily, relentlessly. Each tug feels like a vice closing, your organs shifting, your lungs fighting for air. The British Medical Journal in 1861 documented the dangers of tight lacing deformed ribs, compressed livers, fainting spells, but here, it's a mark of virtue, a sign of discipline. Your body, trained since girlhood, adjusts to shallow, chest-only breaths. But the effort is exhausting, each inhale a reminder of your confinement. "There we are, 19 inches exactly," Clara says, tying off the laces with a satisfied nod. You glance down, your waist impossibly small, your chest pushed up dramatically. An unnatural silhouette that feels like a caricature. The crinoline comes next, a cage of steel hoops that will hold your skirts out in a wide bell shape. Heavy and unwieldy, making every movement a calculated effort. Petticoats follow, layer upon layer of starched cotton, their weight dragging at your hips. And then the dress, a deep blue morning gown with long sleeves and a high collar. Its fabric so heavy it could smother you. The combined weight of corset, crinoline, petticoats and dress is crushing. A mobile prison that restricts every step. You stumble toward the mirror, the crinoline swaying dangerously, and the reflection is both beautiful and horrifying. Your face, pale from arsenic and lead, glows with an eerie perfection. Your eyes, dilated by belladonna, are wide and haunting. Your waist, cinched to 19 inches, looks like it belongs to a doll, not a human. You're the epitome of Victorian beauty, and you're falling apart inside. "Your gloves, miss," Clara says, handing you a pair of pristine white gloves. Their fabric soft but tight, another layer of restraint. And your hat must be pinned securely. The hat is small, decorative, useless against the cold or sun, secured with sharp steel pins that dig into your scalp. You wince, but Clara's hands are steady, pinning it in place with practiced ease. "Your mother is waiting, miss. Lady Langley commented on your posture last week. Shoulders back, chin up," she says, her voice a gentle command. You try to take a deep breath to steady yourself, but the corset allows only a shallow gasp, a reminder of your body's new limits. The room feels smaller now, the arsenic wallpaper seeming to pulse in the dim light, the air thick with the chemical scent of your cosmetics, and the faint smoke from the struggling fire. You glance out the window where a thick, yellow-brown fog blankets the streets below. The infamous London pea souper, a toxic mix of coal smoke and pollution that Charles Dickens described in Bleak House as a soft, black drizzle that chokes the city. Public health reports from the 1860s estimated thousands died yearly from respiratory diseases caused by this smog, yet it's just another part of life here, another danger you must navigate. Miss, your mother is waiting, Clara says again, her voice pulling you back to the present. You straighten, the corset forcing your spine rigid, and lift your chin, preparing to face the day. One moment, Clara, you say, pausing at the door, a wave of dizziness washing over you. I feel a bit faint. Perfectly normal, miss, she replies, her tone cheerful, almost proud. The ladies' magazines say a delicate constitution is most becoming. Lady Langley's daughter fainted thrice at the winter ball. Most elegant, they said. You stare at her, disbelief battling exhaustion. Fainting, a medical emergency caused by oxygen deprivation, is a badge of honor here. A sign of femininity so fragile it can't sustain itself. The absurdity of it makes you want to laugh, but the corset steals even that impulse. You turn toward the door, the crinoline swaying, the weight of your dress pulling at your shoulders. The staircase looms ahead, narrow and steep, a challenge in your heavy, unwieldy attire. Every step will be a test, every moment a performance. You think of your modern morning slipping into soft clothes, brushing your teeth, stepping into a world where you can breathe freely, move freely, exist freely. Here, in 1860, freedom is a distant dream, replaced by a relentless pursuit of beauty that could kill you. As you prepare to descend, you wonder about the women who lived this life not for a day, but for decades. Women who swallowed arsenic, dropped belladonna in their eyes, laced themselves into corsets until their ribs bent, all to meet a standard that was never truly theirs. Etiquette books like Mrs. Beeton's Book of Household Management, published in 1861, urged women to embody this delicate ideal, while medical journals warned of the consequences. Yet they persisted, driven by a society that equated beauty with worth, that judged them by their pallor, their posture, their ability to faint elegantly. You feel a quiet awe for their resilience, their ability to navigate this deadly dance with grace. The door creaks as you step toward the staircase, the gaslight below casting long shadows on the arsenic green walls. What awaits you downstairs? A stern mother, a silent father. A world of expectations feels like a battlefield you're ill-equipped to face. But you have no choice. You're Eleanor Whitmore, and this is your life, at least for today. As you take your first step, the corset digging into your ribs, the crinoline swaying precariously. You carry the weight of a million small choices, each one a compromise between survival and surrender. Imagine their strength, their quiet endurance as you drift toward sleep. Picture the soft glow of the gaslight, the faint rustle of your dress, the distant clatter of a waking city. What will Eleanor face next? Can she survive the day's demands? Let those questions fade gently as you sink deeper into your pillows, the story pausing here, waiting to unfold further when you're ready. Imagine yourself standing in a cold, dimly lit room, the faint glow of a struggling fire casting shadows across the arsenic green wallpaper, the air thick with the chemical scent of your toxic beauty routine. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in 1860 London, your body already weighed down by the poisons you've applied: arsenic wafers, belladonna drops, lead powder, mercury rouge, all in the name of beauty. Now, as the morning creeps forward, you face a new challenge, one that will bind you tighter, steal your breath, and shape you into the ideal Victorian lady. This is the dressing ordeal, a ritual that transforms you from a shivering girl in a thin chemise to a figure of elegance, at a cost you can barely comprehend. As we slip deeper into this soothing tale, designed to carry you gently towards sleep, let the soft rustle of fabric and the distant hum of a waking city wrap around you like a blanket. If you find peace in these stories, drifting off to the rhythm of another time, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more journeys into the past. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let your breath slow, and picture yourself in Eleanor's place, about to face the corset, the crinoline, and the heavy layers that will define your day. Your heart still pounds from the belladonna's sting, your face a mask of pale perfection as Clara, your maid, moves to the wardrobe with a quiet purpose. Her grey dress rustles softly, her white cap bobbing as she pulls out the first piece of your attire, a cotton chemise. Thin and loose, its fabric cool against your skin. Step into this, miss, she says, her voice a gentle hum, and you obey, lifting your arms as the chemise slides over your shoulders, falling to your knees. It's soft but cold, offering little warmth in the chilly room, and you shiver, the goosebumps prickling your arms as you stand vulnerable in the dim light. The chemise is your foundation, the first layer of many, each one designed to mold you into the image of a proper lady. Clara's hands are quick but careful, smoothing the fabric, ensuring it sits just right. You glance at the mirror, its cloudy surface reflecting a figure that feels less like you with every passing moment. The arsenic wallpaper glows faintly behind you, a reminder of the poison that surrounds you, not just in your cosmetics but in the very walls of this house. Medical reports from the Lancet in 1857 described how Shields green, that vibrant emerald hue, released arsenic dust into the air, causing headaches, nausea, even death in poorly ventilated rooms. Yet here it is, a fashionable choice, as inescapable as the routine you're enduring. Next come the drawers, loose cotton shorts tied at the waist. Their open-crotched design a practical necessity in a world without modern plumbing. The thought makes your modern mind recoil. Chamber pots, hidden under beds or tucked in corners, are the only option here, and the drawers are built to accommodate them. You try not to dwell on it, but the reality is stark. Another reminder of how this world controls every aspect of your existence, even the most private. Clara adjusts the drawstrings, her fingers deft, and you feel a flush of embarrassment, quickly suppressed by Eleanor's instincts, which accept this as normal. Now, miss, the corset, Clara says, her tone matter-of-fact, but the word sends a jolt through you. The corset. You've heard of it, of course read about it in history books, seen it in period dramas, but nothing prepares you for the sight of it in Clara's hands, a rigid contraption of whalebone, and steel, its laces gleaming like a trap in the dim light. The British Medical Journal in 1861 documented its dangers, detailing cases of deformed ribs, compressed organs, and chronic fainting spells caused by tight lacing. Yet it's the cornerstone of Victorian femininity, a non-negotiable part of your day. Arms up, miss, Clara instructs, and you comply, lifting your arms as she wraps the corset around your torso, the cold fabric brushing your skin. The first tug of the laces steals your breath, a sharp, crushing pressure that squeezes your ribs, your stomach, your very life. You gasp, your hands clutching the edge of the dressing table, the wood cool under your fingers. I can't breathe, you whisper, your voice faint, trembling. Just a bit tighter, miss. Your waist was 19 inches at Lady Langley's ball last week. Mrs. Langley's daughter Isabel was 18 and a half. Your mother was most displeased, Clara says, her hands pulling steadily, relentlessly, each tug tightening the grip around your body. The pain is immediate, a dull ache that radiates across your chest, your lungs fighting for air, your stomach pressed so tightly you feel it might collapse inward. You try to take a deep breath, but the corset allows only shallow, chest-only gasps, each one a reminder of your confinement. Your modern mind screams, this is torture, this is madness, but Eleanor's body, trained since childhood, adjusts, forcing you to adapt to this suffocating reality. The lacing continues, Clara's hands moving with practiced ease, her voice a soft hum as she counts the inches. 18 3/4, miss. Almost there, she says, and you want to beg her to stop, to loosen the laces, to let you breathe. But the words don't come. Instead, you stand still, your hands gripping the table, your vision blurring slightly as the corset tightens further. The whalebone digs into your sides. The steel stays unyielding, shaping your body into an unnatural hourglass. Medical texts from the era, like those by Dr. Thomas Inman, warned that corsets could displace livers, compress lungs, and weaken spines. Yet society demanded this silhouette, equating a tiny waist with virtue, elegance, and marriageability. Your mother's voice echoes in your mind, sharp and critical, reminding you of Isabel Langley's perfect 18.5-inch waist, a standard you're expected to meet or surpass. There we are, 19 inches exactly, Clara says, tying off the laces with a satisfied nod. Stepping back to admire her work, you glance down, your waist impossibly small, your chest pushed up dramatically, your body no longer your own. The corset feels like a cage, each breath a struggle, each movement a calculation to avoid fainting. You try to shift, to find a position that eases the pressure, but there's no relief. The corset is your master now, dictating how you stand, how you move, how you breathe. Clara doesn't pause, moving to the next layer with the same quiet efficiency. The crinoline mess. She says, pulling out a cage-like structure of steel hoops connected by fabric tapes designed to hold your skirts out in a wide, bell-shaped silhouette. The crinoline is a marvel of engineering, but it's also a burden, heavy and unwieldy. Making doorways, carriages, and even sitting a challenge, Clara helps you step into it. The steel hoops clanking softly as she fastens it around your waist, just above the corset. The weight settles on your hips, pulling at your already strained body, and you feel like a marionette, strung up by invisible threads. Etiquette manuals like the Habits of Good Society, published in 1859, described the crinoline as essential for a lady's grace, but they failed to mention the bruises it left on your hips, the way it caught on furniture, or the fire hazard it posed near open flames. You sway slightly, the crinoline's bulk making balance difficult, and Clara steadies you with a gentle hand. "Careful, miss. It takes a bit of practice," she says, her voice calm as if this is all perfectly normal. You want to laugh, to cry, to scream, but the corset steals even that impulse, leaving you silent, compliant. The petticoats come next, layer upon layer of starched cotton, each one heavier than the last. Clara slips them over the crinoline, tying them securely, the fabric rustling like dry leaves as it settles into place. The weight is staggering, pulling at your shoulders, your hips, your spine. And you wonder how anyone moves in this attire, how they walk through London's crowded streets without collapsing. The petticoats add warmth, at least, a small mercy in the chilly room. But they also trap the corset's pressure, making every breath feel like a battle. You glance at the mirror, the crinoline and petticoats transforming you into a walking monument. Your silhouette wide and imposing, yet fragile beneath the layers. Clara reaches for the final piece, the morning dress. A deep blue gown with long sleeves and a high collar, its fabric heavy with embroidery and lace. "Arms up again, miss," she says, and you lift your arms, wincing as the corset digs deeper with the movement. The dress slides over your head, the fabric catching on the crinoline's hoops, requiring Clara to tug and adjust with care. The gown is beautiful, its rich color a mark of your family's modest wealth, but it's also oppressive, its weight pressing down on your already burdened body. The sleeves are tight, restricting your arms, the collar high and stiff, brushing your chin with every turn of your head. Fashion plates from Godey's Lady's Book in 1860 praised such gowns for their elegance, but they never mentioned the exhaustion, the way the fabric chafed your skin, the way it trapped heat until you felt you might suffocate. Clara fastens the buttons down the back, each one a small click that seals you further into this prison of cloth and steel. You try to move, to take a step, but the crinoline sways dangerously, the petticoats dragging at your legs, the corset forcing you to keep your spine rigid. "Shoulders back, miss," Clara says, adjusting your posture with a gentle push. Your mother will notice if you slouch. The mention of your mother, Beatrice Whitmore, sends a fresh wave of unease through you. You know she's waiting downstairs, her critical eye ready to compare you to Isabel Langley, whose elegance is a constant shadow over your life. You try to take a deep breath to steady yourself, but the corset allows only a shallow gasp, your lungs aching for more air. Clara moves to the dressing table, picking up a pair of white gloves, their fabric soft but tight. Another layer of restraint. "Your gloves, miss," she says, handing them to you. You slip them on, your fingers fumbling with the tiny buttons, the gloves molding to your hands like a second skin. They're pristine, a symbol of purity and refinement, but they also make your hands feel trapped, unable to grip anything firmly. Next comes the hat, a small, decorative bonnet adorned with ribbons and artificial flowers, useless against the cold or sun but essential for propriety. Clara secures it with sharp steel pins, their points grazing your scalp, and you wince, the pain a sharp counterpoint to the corset's constant pressure. "Hold still, miss," Clara murmurs, her hands steady as she adjusts the bonnet, ensuring it sits at the perfect angle. The pins dig in, a reminder that even your head is not your own. Every detail crafted to meet society's expectations. You glance at the mirror one last time, and the figure staring back is unrecognizable. Your waist is cinched to 19 inches, your chest pushed up unnaturally, your skirts ballooning out in a wide bell. Your face, pale from arsenic and lead, glows with an eerie perfection. Your eyes wide and haunting from the belladonna. You're the epitome of Victorian beauty, a walking ideal, but beneath the layers, you're struggling to breathe, to move, to exist. The corset presses against your ribs, the crinoline pulls at your hips. The dress weighs on your shoulders, and you feel like a doll, dressed up for display, not a person. Clara steps back, surveying her work with a nod. You look lovely, miss. Your mother will be pleased, she says, her voice a soothing anchor in the haze of your discomfort. But the words feel hollow. Lovely, yes, but at what cost? Your body aches, your lungs burn, your vision is still hazy from the belladonna, and the arsenic wallpaper seems to pulse in the corner of your eye, a constant reminder of the poison that surrounds you. The room feels smaller now, the air thicker, the faint chemical scent of your cosmetics mingling with the musty odor of the straw mattress and the smoke from the struggling fire. You glance out the window where the London fog, thick and yellow-brown, blankets the streets below. Charles Dickens described it in Bleak House as a soft black drizzle, a toxic mix of coal smoke and pollution that killed thousands yearly, as noted in public health reports from the 1860s. It's another danger you'll face when you leave this room, another layer of this suffocating world. Your mother is waiting, miss, Clara says, her voice pulling you back to the present. You nod, though every movement feels like a battle against the corset, the crinoline, the dress. You take a step toward the door, the crinoline swaying precariously, the petticoats rustling like a storm of leaves. The staircase looms ahead, narrow and steep, a daunting challenge in your heavy, unwieldy attire. You pause, a wave of dizziness washing over you, your vision darkening at the edges. I feel faint, you whisper, your hand gripping the door frame for support. Perfectly normal, miss, Clara replies, her tone cheerful, almost proud. The ladies' magazines say a delicate constitution is most becoming. Lady Langley's daughter fainted thrice at the winter ball. Most elegant, they said. You stare at her, disbelief battling exhaustion. Fainting, a sign of oxygen deprivation, of physical distress, is a badge of honor here. A mark of femininity so fragile it can't sustain itself. The absurdity of it makes you want to laugh, but the corset steals even that, leaving you silent, compliant. You think of modern mornings, pulling on soft jeans, slipping into sneakers, moving freely through a world that doesn't demand your body be reshaped, your breath stolen, your health sacrificed. Here, in 1860, every step is a performance, every layer a chain, every moment a reminder of your place. The corset digs into your ribs, the crinoline pulls at your hips, the dress presses on your shoulders, and you wonder how Victorian women endured this. Not just for a day, but for a lifetime. Etiquette books like Mrs. Beeton's Book of Household Management, published in 1861, urged women to embody this delicate ideal, to present themselves as ornaments of society, while medical journals warned of the consequences: broken ribs, damaged organs, shortened lives. Yet they persisted, driven by a world that equated their worth with their appearance, their obedience, their ability to conform. You feel a quiet awe for their strength, their ability to navigate this daily ordeal with grace, to smile through the pain, to carry the weight of these layers without complaint. As you step toward the staircase, the floorboards creak under your feet, the gaslight below casting long shadows on the walls. The day ahead breakfast with your critical mother, a morning of household duties. A world of expectations feels like a battlefield you're barely equipped to face. But you have no choice. You're Eleanor Whitmore, and this is your life, at least for today. The corset forces your spine rigid, the crinoline sways with each step. The dress pulls at your shoulders and you move slowly, carefully, each motion a testament to the resilience of the women who came before you. Imagine their endurance, their quiet determination as you drift towards sleep. Picture the soft glow of the gaslight, the faint rustle of your skirts, the distant clatter of horse hooves on cobblestone streets. What will Eleanor face next? Can she navigate the expectations waiting downstairs? Let those questions fade gently as you sink deeper into your pillows, the story pausing here, ready to unfold further when you return. Imagine yourself standing at the top of a narrow staircase, the creak of old wood under your feet, the weight of your heavy dress pulling at your shoulders, the corset stealing your breath with every shallow gasp. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in 1860 London, your body already burdened by the poisons of your beauty routine and the crushing layers of your attire, arsenic-laced face powder, belladonna drops, a 19-inch corset, a steel crinoline, and a gown that feels like a prison of fabric. The air is thick, with the faint chemical scent of your cosmetics mingling with the musty odor of the arsenic green wallpaper, its toxic glow a constant reminder of the dangers surrounding you. You've survived the morning's ordeal, but now a new challenge awaits downstairs, where your family gathers for breakfast. A meal that's less about nourishment and more about scrutiny, expectation, and the unspoken rules of Victorian society. As we drift deeper into this soothing tale, crafted to guide you gently towards sleep, let the soft clink of china and the distant murmur of a waking household wrap around you, like a warm blanket. If you find solace in these stories, sinking into the past as your eyelids grow heavy, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more journeys that lull you into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let your breath slow, and picture yourself as Eleanor, descending the stairs into a world where every word, every glance is a test. Your hand grips the banister, the polished wood cool under your gloved fingers. As you take your first step, the crinoline swaying precariously, threatening to catch on the narrow steps. The corset forces your spine rigid, your chest aching with each shallow breath, and you move slowly, carefully, each step a calculated effort to avoid tripping or fainting. The gaslight below casts long shadows on the walls, their flickering glow dancing across the peeling wallpaper, and you feel a wave of dizziness, your vision blurring at the edges from the belladonna still burning in your eyes. You pause, steadying yourself, and Clara, your maid, hovers behind you. Her voice soft but insistent. "Careful, miss. Your mother will notice if you're late," she says, her words a gentle prod, urging you forward. You nod, though the effort of speaking feels monumental, and continue your descent, the rustle of your petticoats echoing in the quiet house. The dining room looms ahead, its heavy oak door slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of the table set with crisp white linens, silver cutlery, and delicate china. The scent of weak tea and slightly burned toast drifts toward you, mingling with the faint coal smoke that seeps through every crack in this London home. You push the door open, the hinges creaking softly, and step into the room, your heart pounding as you brace for what's to come. Your mother, Beatrice Whitmore, sits at the head of the table, her posture impeccable, her grey morning dress severe and unyielding, her dark hair pinned tightly beneath a lace cap. Her eyes, sharp and critical, flick to you the moment you enter, and you feel their weight. Like a physical force, assessing every detail of your appearance, your father, Charles Whitmore, is at the opposite end, half hidden behind a newspaper, The Times, its pages rustling as he turns them, his face a mask of disinterest. Your younger sister, Emily, barely 16, sits to his left, her eyes downcast, her hands folded neatly in her lap, already dressed in a simpler version of your own attire, her corset slightly less severe but still constricting. The table is sparse, a reflection of your family's modest means: tea, toast, a small pat of butter, a single boiled egg for each person, and a thin slice of cold ham for your father. Mrs. Beaton's book of household management, published just a year later in 1861, would describe such a breakfast as typical for the middle class, a stark contrast to the lavish spreads of the aristocracy, but even this feels like a performance. Every item placed with precision, every bite a matter of etiquette. "Eleanor, you're late," your mother says, her voice clipped, her eyes narrowing as they sweep over you, lingering on your posture, your gloves, the angle of your bonnet. You feel a flush of heat, despite the corset's grip, and lower your eyes, murmuring, "I'm sorry, Mother. The dressing took longer today." It's a lie, born of Eleanor's instincts, but it's what she expects. A deferential apology to smooth the moment. Isabel Langley is never late, Beatrice replies, her tone cutting, invoking the name that haunts you, the perfect daughter of a wealthier family, whose 18.5-inch waist and flawless manners are a constant benchmark. You slide into your seat, the crinoline making the motion awkward, the steel hoops clanking softly against the chair. The corset presses harder as you sit, forcing you to keep your back straight, your shoulders back, your chin up, every movement a reminder of the lessons drilled into you since childhood. The Habits of Good Society, a popular etiquette guide from 1859, emphasized that a lady's posture at table was a mark of her breeding, and you feel the weight of that expectation now, your mother's eyes never leaving you. You reach for your teacup, the china delicate in your gloved hand, and take a sip. The tea weak and lukewarm, its bitterness a sharp contrast to the sweetness you crave. The toast is dry, the butter rationed so thinly it barely coats the bread, and you nibble carefully, aware that eating too much or too quickly will draw your mother's disapproval. A lady never appears hungry, she often says, quoting the etiquette manuals that govern your life. Your father, still behind his newspaper, grunts softly, a rare acknowledgement of your presence, and you wonder if he even notices you, or if you're just another fixture in this carefully staged scene. Emily, your sister, glances at you, her eyes wide with a mix of sympathy and fear, knowing her own turn under your mother's scrutiny will come soon enough. The silence is heavy, broken only by the clink of cutlery and the rustle of your father's paper, and you feel the pressure to fill it, to say something that will please or at least deflect your mother's attention. The weather seems fine today, mother, you venture, your voice soft, tentative. Fine enough for you to make calls with me this afternoon? Beatrice replies, her tone sharp, her eyes flicking to your face, assessing your complexion. Lady Langley expects us at 2, and I trust you'll not embarrass me. Isabel was radiant at their last gathering. Her mother says she's had an offer from James Langley, a most eligible match. The name James Langley sends a jolt through you, a flicker of Eleanor's memories surfacing tall, reserved, with a smile that never reaches his eyes. A man your mother hopes will propose to you, securing your family's status. The thought of marriage, of a life bound even tighter than this corset, makes your stomach twist, but you nod, murmuring, yes, mother, as expected. The conversation turns to household matters, your mother detailing the day's tasks, inspecting linens, reviewing accounts, ensuring the servants haven't pilfered the sugar, and you listen, or pretend to, your mind drifting to the modern world you've left behind, where breakfast is a casual affair, where you can eat what you want, wear what you want, speak without fear of judgment. Here, every bite is measured, every word weighed, every glance a potential misstep. You notice the disparity at the table. Your father's plate has a larger slice of ham, a second egg, privileges denied to you and Emily, a subtle reminder of the gender hierarchy that governs even this simple meal. Contemporary writings, like those in the Englishwoman's Review, noted such inequalities, arguing that women's diets were restricted to maintain their delicate appearance, while men were encouraged to eat heartily. You take another sip of tea, the bitterness grounding you, and try to focus on the moment, on surviving this breakfast without drawing further criticism. Beatrice's voice cuts through your thoughts. Eleanor, your posture is slipping. A lady does not slump like a scullery maid, she says, her eyes narrowing. You straighten instantly, the corset digging deeper, the pain a sharp reminder of your role, and your gloves are slightly creased. You must change them before we leave. Isabel's gloves are always pristine. The comparison stings, as it always does, and you nod, your throat tight, your hands smoothing the gloves self-consciously. You glance at Emily, who keeps her eyes on her plate, her own posture rigid, her face pale from her own corset and beauty routine. You wonder if she feels the same weight, the same suffocation, or if she's too young to fully grasp the cost of this life. The meal continues, each moment a test of endurance, the corset making even swallowing difficult, the crinoline forcing you to sit at an awkward angle to avoid crushing the hoops. You think of the women who sat at tables like this day after day. Their lives a series of performances, their bodies and minds shaped by rules they couldn't escape. Feminist writers like Josephine Butler, active in the 1860s, would later argue that Such domestic rituals were a form of control, keeping women focused on trivialities, while men held power. And you feel the truth of that now, your every move dictated by your mother's expectations, your father's indifferent society's demands. The breakfast ends abruptly when your father folds his newspaper, his chair scraping as he stands. "I'll be at the office until evening," he says, addressing no one in particular, and leaves without another word, his heavy footsteps echoing down the hall. Beatrice turns her attention fully to you, her eyes cold. "We'll leave for Lady Langley's at 1:30 sharp. Ensure you're ready, Eleanor. I won't have you shaming us." You nod, your voice caught in your throat, and she rises, her dress rustling as she sweeps out of the room, leaving you and Emily in a heavy silence. Emily glances at you, her eyes softening for a moment. "It's not so bad, is it?" she whispers, her voice trembling, seeking reassurance you can't give. You force a smile, your lips stiff from the lead powder, and murmur, "We'll manage, Emily." Though the words feel hollow, you rise, the crinoline clanking softly, and make your way to the drawing room, where the morning's tasks await. The room is small but meticulously arranged, with heavy drapes blocking the worst of the London fog, a pianoforte in one corner, and a small table set with account books and linens for inspection. Beatrice is already there, her pen scratching across a ledger, her face set in concentration. "Eleanor, the linens need checking. Mrs. Carter, the housekeeper, claims they're in order, but I trust your eye," she says, not looking up. You nod, moving to the table, your skirts brushing against the furniture, the corset making bending impossible. You lift a folded sheet, its fabric coarse under your gloved fingers, and inspect it for stains or tears, a task that feels endless in your constrained state. Mrs. Beaton's guide would later emphasize the importance of such duties, noting that a lady's management of the household was a mark of her competence. But to you it feels like a trap, keeping you busy with minutiae while the world moves on without you. The accounts annex, a ledger filled with neat columns of expenses: coal, candles, wages for Clara and Mrs. Carter, a small sum for your father's tobacco. You add and subtract, your mind foggy from the corset's pressure, your vision still hazy from the belladonna. Beatrice watches you, her pen pausing occasionally to correct your figures, her comments sharp but quiet. "Accuracy, Eleanor. Isabel never makes errors," she says, and you bite your lip, the sting of her words sharper than the corset's grip. The morning drags on, each task a reminder of your role, your place, your lack of power. You think of the modern world, where you could choose your work, your clothes, your life, and the contrast is almost unbearable. Here, you're a cog in a machine, your value tied to your appearance, your obedience, your ability to perform these endless rituals. As noon approaches, Beatrice closes the ledger with a snap. "We'll prepare for our calls now. Change your gloves, Eleanor, and ensure your bonnet is secure. Lady Langley will notice every detail," she says, her voice leaving no room for argument. You nod, rising carefully, the crinoline swaying, the corset pressing harder with the movement. You make your way back upstairs, Clara trailing behind, ready to adjust your attire for the afternoon's social calls. The thought of facing Lady Langley, of enduring more comparisons to Isabel, fills you with dread. But you push it aside, focusing on the next step, the next task. You think of the women who lived this life not for a day, but for decades. Their resilience, a quiet fire that burns beneath the surface. Writers like Frances Power Cobbe, in her essays from the 1860s, described the domestic sphere as a gilded cage, beautiful, but confining, and you feel that now. Your body and mind trapped in a cycle of expectation and endurance. As you reach the top of the stairs, the corset digging into your ribs, the crinoline pulling at your hips, you pause, a wave of dizziness washing over you. You grip the banister, your gloved hand trembling, and Clara steadies you, her voice soft. "Just a moment, miss. You'll be fine after a rest," she says, but you know rest is a luxury you won't have today. The social calls, the streets of London, the weight of your mother's expectations all lie ahead. Each one a test of your strength, your patience, your ability to survive. You think of the modern freedoms you took for granted, eating without judgment, moving without pain, speaking without fear, and you feel a quiet gratitude for them, even as you navigate this suffocating world. Imagine the women who faced these mornings, their lives a delicate balance of duty and survival, their strength hidden beneath layers of lace and steel. Picture the soft clink of teacups, the rustle of heavy skirts, the faint hum of a city waking beyond the fog. What will Eleanor face in the drawing rooms of London? Can she endure the scrutiny of Lady Langley's gaze? Let those questions drift away as you sink deeper into your pillows, the story pausing here, ready to unfold further when you return. Picture yourself standing in a small, dimly lit drawing room, the heavy drapes muffling the sounds of a bustling London morning, the air thick with the faint scent of coal smoke seeping through the windows. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in 1860, your body weighed down by the crushing grip of a 19-inch corset, the unwieldy steel crinoline, and the heavy blue morning gown that drags at your shoulders. Your face, pale from arsenic wafers and lead powder, stings faintly from belladonna drops, and your scalp aches from the steel pins securing your bonnet. Breakfast is over, a tense affair under your mother Beatrice's critical gaze, where every bite, every word, was measured against the impossible standard of Isabel Langley. Now, as the clock ticks toward noon, you're tasked with household duties and preparing for social calls, a ritual that feels like stepping onto a stage where every gesture, every glance is judged. As we weave deeper into this soothing tale crafted to carry you gently towards sleep, let the soft rustle of linens, the scratch of a pen on ledger paper, and the distant clatter of carriage wheels lull you into a state of calm. If you find peace in these stories, drifting into the past as your eyelids grow heavy, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more journeys that guide you into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let your breath slow, and imagine yourself as Eleanor, moving through a world where duty and decorum are as binding as the corset around your waist. You stand at a small table in the drawing room, your gloved hands trembling slightly from the corset's pressure as you inspect a pile of linens, their coarse fabric rough under your fingers. Your mother, Beatrice, sits nearby, her pen scratching across a ledger, her eyes flicking to you occasionally, ensuring you're performing your role with precision. Eleanor, check the napkins for stains. Mrs. Carter claims they're spotless, but I trust your eye, she says, her voice sharp but low, a tone that brooks no argument. You nod, though the effort of bending, even slightly, sends a sharp pain through your ribs, the corset digging deeper with every movement. The linens are neatly folded, their edges frayed from use, and you run your fingers along them, searching for imperfections, knowing that any flaw will reflect poorly on you. Mrs. Beeton's book of household management, published just a year later in 1860, one would emphasize that a lady's oversight of household details was a mark of her competence, a duty as essential as her appearance, and you feel that weight now, your mother's expectations pressing as heavily as the steel hoops of your crinoline. You lift a napkin, its texture scratchy despite its whiteness, and find a faint yellow stain, barely visible in the dim light of the gas lamp. Mother, there's a mark here, you say, your voice soft, hesitant, afraid of drawing her ire. Beatrice glances up, her eyes narrowing as she crosses the room, her own dress rustling with each step. She inspects the napkin, her lips pursing in disapproval. Careless work from Mrs. Carter. Set it aside for Ray washing, Eleanor. A lady's table must be impeccable, she says, returning to her ledger without another word. You place the napkin in a separate pile, your hands moving carefully to avoid creasing your gloves, which your mother already criticized at breakfast. The task feels endless, each linen a test of your patience, your endurance, your ability to perform this role without faltering. The corset makes standing for so long a trial, your legs aching, your lungs struggling for air, and you feel a wave of dizziness, your vision blurring at the edges from the belladonna still lingering in your eyes. You grip the table's edge, steadying yourself, and Clara, who has been hovering nearby, steps forward, her voice a gentle whisper. Are you all right, miss? She asks, her concern genuine but tempered by her role. I'm fine, Clara, you murmur, though the words feel like a lie, your body screaming for relief you can't have. The drawing room is stifling. Despite the chill seeping through the windows, the heavy drapes trapping the air, which carries the faint chemical scent of your cosmetics, and The musty odor of the arsenic-laced wallpaper. The Lancet in 1857 warned of the dangers of Shields green, linking it to chronic illnesses. Yet it remains a fashionable choice, its vibrant hue a backdrop to your daily struggles. You move to the next task, the household accounts. A ledger filled with neat columns of expenses: coal for the fires, candles for the evening, wages for Clara and Mrs. Carter, a small sum for your father's tobacco. Beatrice hands you the pen, its nib worn from use, and you sit. The crinoline forcing you to perch awkwardly, the steel hoops clanking against the chair. Check the figures, Eleanor. Accuracy is essential, she says, her eyes fixed on you, waiting for a mistake. You dip the pen in ink, your gloved hand clumsy, and begin adding the columns, the numbers swimming slightly in your hazy vision. The corset presses harder as you lean forward, your ribs aching, your breath shallow, and you make a small error, adding 6 shillings instead of 5. Beatrice notices immediately, her pen tapping, the ledger sharply. Eleanor, you've miscalculated again. Isabel Langley never makes such errors, she says, her voice cutting, invoking the name that shadows your every move. You correct the mistake, your cheeks flushing beneath the lead powder, and continue, the task stretching endlessly before you. The accounts are a window into your family's precarious position. Not poor, but far from wealthy, each expense a careful balance to maintain appearances. Contemporary records, like those in the Englishwoman's Review, noted that middle-class families often lived on the edge, their respectability a fragile facade. And you feel that now, the pressure to uphold this image weighing as heavily as your dress. The clock on the mantel chimes 12:30, its soft ting a reminder of the social calls looming ahead. Beatrice closes the ledger with a snap, her eyes sweeping over you once more. We leave for Lady Langley's at 1:30 sharp. Change your gloves, Eleanor, and ensure your bonnet is secure. Lady Langley will notice every detail, she says, her tone leaving no room for argument. You nod, rising carefully, the crinoline swaying, the corset digging deeper with the movement. You make your way upstairs, Clara trailing behind, her steps light compared to your heavy, rustling tread. In your bedroom, the air is still cold, the fire long since died down, and you stand before the mirror as Clara removes your creased gloves, replacing them with a fresh pair, their white fabric pristine but tight, another layer of restraint. She adjusts your bonnet, the steel pins grazing your scalp, and you wince, the pain a sharp counterpoint to the corset's constant pressure. Shoulders back, miss, Clara murmurs, her hands gentle but firm, ensuring you meet your mother's standards. You glance at the mirror, your reflection a stranger pale, wide-eyed, cinched to an impossible shape, a perfect Victorian lady, but one who feels like she's suffocating. The thought of the social calls, of facing Lady Langley and her daughter Isabel, fills you with dread, but you push it aside, focusing on the next step, the next task. You descend the stairs once more, your mother waiting in the hall, her own attire immaculate, her expression unreadable. The carriage is ready, she says, leading the way to the front door, where the thick London fog greets you, a yellow-brown haze that obscures the street, its acrid scent stinging your nose. Charles Dickens described this fog in Bleak House as a soft black drizzle, a toxic mix of coal smoke and pollution that killed thousands yearly. As noted in public health reports from the 1860s, and you feel its weight now a physical presence. That makes breathing even harder in your corset. The carriage is small, its interior cramped, and you struggle to maneuver your crinoline through the door, the steel hoops catching on the frame. Beatrice settles opposite you, her eyes fixed on your posture, your gloves, your bonnet. As the carriage lurches forward, the clatter of hooves on cobblestone a jarring rhythm that matches your pounding heart. The journey to Lady Langley's home is short but tortuous, the corset pressing harder with each jolt. The fog seeping through the cracks, your vision still hazy from the belladonna. You try to focus on the etiquette of the visit, recalling rules from the habits of good society, published in 1859, which dictate everything from the length of the call 15 minutes. No more to the proper way to hold your teacup, your fan, your conversation. A lady must be charming but reserved, attentive but not forward. A delicate balance you're expected to master. The carriage stops outside Lady Langley's home, a grander house than your own. Its facade imposing despite the fog. You step out, the crinoline making the descent awkward, and follow Beatrice to the door, where a footman ushers you into a drawing room far more opulent than yours. The air is warmer here, scented with lavender and wax, but the weight of expectation is heavier still. Lady Langley, a tall woman with a severe expression, rises to greet you, her eyes sweeping over you with the same critical precision as your mother's. Isabel, her daughter, sits nearby, her 18.5-inch waist a silent rebuke, her smile polite but distant. Mrs. Whitmore, Miss Whitmore, how delightful, Lady Langley says, her voice smooth but laced with judgment. You curtsy, the movement painful in the corset, and take a seat, the crinoline forcing you to perch awkwardly, the hoops clanking softly against the chair. The conversation begins, a carefully choreographed dance of pleasantries, gossip and subtle barbs. Lady Langley mentions a recent ball, her tone implying Isabel's triumph, and Beatrice counters with a vague reference to your own accomplishments, though you know they pale in comparison. The tea is served, the china delicate, the tea stronger than at home, and you sip carefully, aware that spilling a drop would be a disaster. The habits of good society warned that a lady's grace at tea was a measure of her worth, and you feel that now, your gloved hands trembling slightly as you balance the cup. Isabel speaks, her voice soft but confident, recounting a charity event she attended, her words chosen to highlight her virtue. You nod, murmuring agreement, but your mother's eyes urge you to contribute, to prove your worth. Eleanor has been managing our household accounts with great care, Beatrice says, her tone a challenge, and you force a smile, your throat tight. It's a small duty, but I strive to do it well, you say, your voice barely audible, the corset stealing your breath. Lady Langley's smile is thin, her eyes flicking to your gloves, your bonnet, searching for flaws. The conversation turns to marriage, a topic that makes your stomach churn. Isabel has received an offer from Mr. James Langley, Lady Langley says, her voice dripping with pride, and you feel your mother's gaze sharpen, her unspoken expectation clear you must secure a similar match. The thought of James Langley, with his cold smile and controlling demeanor, sends a shiver through you, but you nod, murmuring congratulations. Your role is clear as the etiquette manuals that govern your life. The call drags on, each minute a test of your endurance, the corset pressing harder, the crinoline making every shift uncomfortable. You listen to gossip about ruined reputations, a young woman seen unchaperoned, another who spoke too freely at a dinner, and you realize how precarious your position is, how one misstep could destroy you. Feminist writers like Frances Power Cobb, in her 1860s essays, describe the drawing room as a battlefield where women fought for status with smiles and silence, and you feel that now, your every word a weapon, your every gesture a shield. The visit ends precisely at 15 minutes as etiquette demands, and you rise, curtsying carefully, the corset making the motion agonizing. Lady Langley's parting words are polite but pointed. Do call again, Miss Whitmore. Your mother speaks so highly of you, she says, her tone implying doubt. You follow Beatrice back to the carriage, the fog thicker now, the air colder, your body aching from the effort of sitting, smiling, surviving. The ride home is silent, your mother's expression unreadable, but you know she's cataloguing your performance, comparing you to Isabel, finding you wanting. You think of the modern world where a coffee with friends is casual, free, a moment of connection rather than competition. Here, every interaction is a performance, every visit a test of your worth. You feel a quiet awe for the women who navigated these rituals, their resilience a hidden strength beneath their delicate exteriors. As the carriage jolts along, the corset digging into your ribs, the crinoline pulling at your hips, you wonder what lies ahead. London's streets, more duties, the looming spectre of James Langley's proposal. Imagine their endurance, their quiet grace as you drift towards sleep. Picture the soft clink of teacups, the rustle of heavy skirts, the muffled hum of a foggy city. What will Eleanor face in the streets of London? Can she bear the weight of her mother's ambitions? Let those questions fade gently as you sink deeper into your pillows, the story pausing here, ready to unfold further when you return. Imagine yourself stepping out of a cramped carriage, the cold, acrid fog of 1860 London wrapping around you like a heavy cloak, its yellow-brown haze stinging your nose, blurring the gaslight street ahead. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman bound by the suffocating weight of a 19-inch corset, a steel crinoline that sways with every step, and a heavy blue gown that drags at your shoulders, your face pale from arsenic wafers, and lead powder your eyes hazy from belladonna drops. The social call at Lady Langley's has left you drained, your mother Beatrice's critical gaze lingering in your mind, her comparisons to the perfect Isabel Langley cutting deeper than the corset's whalebone stays. Now, as you venture into the chaotic streets of London for shopping on Bond Street, you face a new trial, a world of noise, filth and danger that tests your endurance, your poise, your very survival. As we drift deeper into this soothing tale, crafted to guide you gently towards sleep, let the muffled clatter of hooves, the distant cries of street vendors, and the soft rustle of your skirts envelop you like a lullaby. If you find comfort in these stories, sinking into the past as your breath slows, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more journeys that carry you into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let the modern world fade and picture yourself as Eleanor, stepping into the heart of a city that's as beautiful as it is brutal. The carriage door swings shut behind you, the sound a dull thud swallowed by the fog, and you pause on the cobblestone pavement, your crinoline swaying, threatening to catch on the uneven stones. Beatrice stands beside you, her posture rigid, her grey dress immaculate, her eyes scanning the street for any sign of impropriety. "Keep your chin up, Eleanor. A lady does not gawk," she says, her voice sharp but low, a reminder of the etiquette that governs your every move. You nod, though the corset makes even that small gesture painful, and lift your chin, your gloved hands clutching a small reticule, its contents meager a few shillings, a handkerchief, a vial of smelling salts for the inevitable fainting spells. The fog is thicker now, a pea soup so dense you can barely see the buildings across the street, their gas lamps glowing like faint stars in a murky sky. Charles Dickens, in his 1853 novel Bleak House, called this fog a soft black drizzle, a toxic blend of coal smoke and river mist that choked London, killing thousands yearly from respiratory diseases, as noted in public health reports of the 1860s. The stench hits you like a physical force, a mix of sewage, rotting food, and coal dust, and you press your handkerchief to your nose, its faint rose water scent a weak defense against the assault. Your corset, already stealing your breath, makes the polluted air harder to bear. Each inhale a shallow gasp that leaves you lightheaded. You step forward, your boots sinking slightly into the muddy street, the cobblestones slick with grime and horse manure. The Habits of Good Society, published in 1859, advised ladies to navigate London's streets with grace as if gliding through a ballroom. But the reality is far less elegant. Your crinoline catches on a protruding stone, and you stumble, Beatrice's hand snapping to your arm, her grip firm. "Careful, Eleanor. Isabel Langley moves with such ease," she says, her tone a warning, and you flush beneath your lead powder, straightening despite the corset's grip. The street is alive with chaos, a cacophony of sounds that jars your senses, hooves clattering, wheels creaking, vendors shouting their wares, hot pies, penny apiece, and fresh flowers, bright as your lady's smile. A costermonger, his face weathered, pushes a cart piled with wilted cabbages, his eyes darting to you, not with admiration but with calculation, assessing your worth. You glance away, your mother's voice in your head, reminding you that a lady never meets the gaze of strangers. Henry Mayhew's London Labour and the London Poor, published in the 1850s, describe these street vendors as the lifeblood of the city, yet to you, they're a reminder of the vast gulf between your world and there's a world where survival depends on shillings earned in the mud. You pass a group of street children, their faces smudged with dirt, their clothes ragged, their eyes hollow with hunger. One, a girl no older than 10, holds out a trembling hand, her voice barely audible. "A penny, miss, for a match," she pleads, her jaw swollen, a telltale sign of phossy jaw, the horrific disease caused by phosphorus in match factories, documented in medical journals like The Lancet. In 1862, your heart lurches, a modern instinct urging you to help, but Beatrice pulls you forward, Her voice low, "Ignore them, Eleanor. They're not our concern." You want to protest, to offer the girl a coin, but Eleanor's training holds you back, your gloved hand tightening around your reticule. The contrast is stark. Your life, constrained by corsets and etiquette, feels oppressive. But these children face a far harsher reality, their lives measured in pennies and pain. You think of modern streets, clean and ordered, where charity is a choice, not a risk to your reputation, and the thought brings a pang of longing. The street grows busier as you approach Bond Street, the heart of London's fashionable shopping district. Carriages jostle for space, their drivers shouting, horses snorting, while ladies in wide crinolines navigate the pavement, their parasols bobbing like colourful buoys in the fog. A group of young men, dandies in tailored coats, tip their hats as you pass, their smiles polite but predatory, their eyes lingering on your cinched waist, your pale face. The habits of good society warn that a lady must never acknowledge such attention, and you keep your gaze forward, though your cheeks burn beneath the powder. Beatrice notices, her eyes narrowing. "Eyes down, Eleanor." A lady does not invite scrutiny, she says, and you obey, though the effort of ignoring the world around you feels like another layer of confinement. The shops on Bond Street are a dazzling contrast to the filthy streets, their windows gleaming with displays of silk gloves, lace shawls, and glittering jewelry. You pause before a draper's shop, its sign proclaiming finest fabrics for the discerning lady, and Beatrice leads you inside, the bell above the door jingling softly. The air is warmer here, scented with lavender and starch, but the corset makes the sudden change suffocating, your breath catching as you struggle to adapt. The shopkeeper, a weary man with a deferential smile, bows low, "Mrs. Whitmore, Miss Whitmore, a pleasure. New muslins arrived from Paris this morning," he says, gesturing to bolts of fabric in soft pastels. Beatrice inspects them, her fingers testing the texture, her eyes calculating cost against appearance. "We'll need 2 yards for a new evening gown for Eleanor," she says, her tone firm. And you realize this purchase is not for pleasure but for strategy. Another weapon in the battle to outshine Isabel Langley. You stand silently, your role to nod and agree, though the thought of another heavy gown makes your shoulders ache. The shopkeeper measures the fabric, his scissors snipping rhythmically, and you watch, mesmerized by the normalcy of it. A moment of calm in this chaotic day. But the calm is fleeting. As you leave the shop, a woman brushes past you, her dress tattered, her face painted with rouge that can't hide her gaunt cheeks. She glances at you, her eyes desperate, and you realize with a start that she's a prostitute, one of the thousands Mayhew documented in his studies. Women driven to the streets by poverty, their lives a stark warning of what happens to those who fall outside society's rules. Beatrice hurries you along, her grip tight, but the woman's face lingers. In your mind, a reminder of the fragility of your own position. One misstep, a ruined reputation, a rejected suitor, and you could be her, cast out with no safety net. The fog seems to thicken, wrapping the street in a dreamlike haze, and you feel a wave of dizziness, your corset pressing harder, your vision blurring. You pause, leaning against a lamppost, its cold iron steadying you, and Beatrice frowns. "Eleanor, compose yourself." A lady does not falter in public, she says, but her voice softens slightly. Perhaps sensing your distress, you nod, pulling out your smelling salts, their sharp ammonia scent cutting through the fog, grounding you for a moment. The Lancet in 1860 noted that fainting was common among corseted women, a result of restricted breathing and poor nutrition. Yet it was celebrated as a sign of delicate femininity, a mark of elegance. You think of Lady Langley's daughter Isabel, fainting thrice at a ball, and being praised for it, and the absurdity makes you want to laugh. But the corset steals even that impulse. You continue down Bond Street, passing a group of women in plain dresses, their faces earnest, handing out pamphlets. "Votes for women," one calls, her voice bold despite the glares from passers-by. These are early suffragists, precursors to the movement that would gain strength later in the century. As documented in the English Woman's Review, their presence is a spark of hope, a glimpse of a future where women might have a voice, but Beatrice steers you away, her voice low. "Radicals, Pay them no mind, Eleanor. You want to stop to read their words, to imagine a world where you could speak freely, but your mother's grip is firm. Her expectations clear. You're a lady, not a revolutionary, and your role is to obey, to conform, to survive. The shopping continues, each store a blur of fabrics, ribbons, and polite smiles. Your mother's purchases piling up: a new fan, a pair of gloves, a lace collar, all chosen to maintain the family's fragile respectability. Your legs ache from standing, your back throbs from the corset's pressure, and the fog seems to seep into your bones. It's chill mingling with the exhaustion that weighs you down. You pass a street sweeper, a boy no older than 12, his broom scraping the cobblestones, his face smudged with soot. Mayhew's reports describe these children, paid pennies to clear the streets of filth. There lives a constant struggle against hunger and cold. You want to offer him something, anything, but your reticule holds only enough for your mother's purchases, and charity in public risks her disapproval. You move on, the boy's face joining the match girls in your memory, a gallery of lives so different from your own, yet bound by the same unforgiving city. As you approach the final shop, a milliner's with hats displayed like works of art, Beatrice pauses, her eyes softening for a moment. You did well at Lady Langley's, Eleanor, despite your gloves, she says, her praise rare and fleeting. You nod, surprised, but the moment passes as she enters the shop, leaving you to follow. The milliner, a woman with a sharp smile, shows you bonnets adorned with feathers and silk flowers, each one a statement of status. Beatrice selects one, its price staggering, and you realize it's for you. Another tool to secure James Langley's interest. The thought of him, of marriage, of a life even more constrained than this, makes your stomach churn, but you smile as expected, murmuring thanks. The day wears on, the fog growing denser, the street noises fading into a muffled hum. You return to the carriage, your arms laden with parcels, your body exhausted from the effort of moving in your heavy attire. The corset presses harder with each jolt of the carriage, the crinoline making the small space unbearable, and you feel a wave of claustrophobia, your breath shallow, your heart racing. Beatrice sits opposite, her expression unreadable, but you know she's assessing you, planning the next step in her campaign to secure your future. You think of the modern world, where a shopping trip is a casual outing, not a test of endurance, where you can walk freely, breathe freely, choose freely. Here, every step is a performance, every purchase a strategy, every moment a reminder of your place. You feel a quiet awe for the women who navigated these streets, their resilience a hidden strength beneath their delicate exteriors. Writers like Josephine Butler, active in the 1860s, described the city as a place of both opportunity and peril for women, and you feel that now the beauty of Bond Street's shops, overshadowed by the filth, the danger, the weight of expectation. As the carriage rattles toward home, the fog wrapping you in its cold embrace, you wonder what lies ahead: more duties, the looming spectre of James Langley's proposal, a life of ever-tightening constraints. Imagine their endurance, their quiet grace. As you drift toward sleep, picture the soft glow of gas lamps through the fog, the clatter of hooves, the rustle of your heavy skirts. What will Eleanor face back at home? Can she bear the growing pressure of her mother's ambitions? Let those questions settle gently in your mind, the story flowing onward, carrying you deeper into the heart of this Victorian day. Picture yourself stepping out of a rattling carriage, the thick, acrid fog of 1860 London clinging to your heavy blue gown, its weight pulling at your shoulders, the 19-inch corset stealing, your breath with every shallow gasp. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman bound by the suffocating rules of Victorian society, your face pale from arsenic wafers and lead powder, your eyes hazy from belladonna drops, your scalp aching from steel bonnet pins. The streets of London with their chaotic noise, filthy cobblestones, and fleeting glimpses of desperate faces, match girls, street sweepers. Suffragists still linger in your mind, their stark realities a contrast to the polished drawing rooms you've just left. The social call at Lady Langley's, where your mother Beatrice compared you endlessly to the flawless Isabel Langley, has left you drained, your body aching from the crinoline steel hoops and the relentless pressure of expectation. Now, As you return home, the air heavy with coal smoke and the promise of evening, a new challenge looms, one that tightens the knot in your stomach more than the corset ever could. A marriage proposal from James Langley, a man whose cold smile hides intentions you fear to uncover. As we weave deeper into this soothing tale crafted to guide you gently towards sleep, let the soft creak of floorboards, the faint flicker of gaslight, and the distant hum of a city settling into dusk wrap around you like a warm blanket. If you find solace in these stories, drifting into the past as your eyelids grow heavy, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more journeys that lull you into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let your breath slow, and imagine yourself as Eleanor, stepping back into the house where duty, decorum, and a looming proposal await. The front door creaks as you enter, the hall dim and cold, the gas lamps casting long shadows on the arsenic green wallpaper, its toxic shimmer a constant reminder of the dangers woven into this life. Beatrice brushes past you, her grey dress rustling, her expression unreadable but tense, as if she senses the weight of the moment. Eleanor, to the drawing room. Mr. Langley will call shortly, she says, her voice sharp but low, her eyes flicking to your gloves, your bonnet, ensuring no detail is out of place. Your heart lurches, the name James Langley conjuring an image of a tall man in a tailored coat, his smile polite but distant, his eyes calculating as if measuring your worth. You nod, though the corset makes the gesture painful, and follow her, your crinoline swaying, catching on the narrow doorway, the steel hoops clanking softly. The drawing room is warmer than the hall, a small fire crackling in the grate, but the air is heavy with the scent of wax and lavender, mingling with the chemical tang of your cosmetics. Clara, your maid, hovers nearby, her grey dress a quiet presence as she adjusts a vase of wilted roses, their petals drooping like your own fading energy. You sit, the crinoline forcing you to perch awkwardly, the corset digging deeper, your breath shallow and laboured. Beatrice takes her place near the fire, her hands folded neatly, her posture a model of Victorian propriety as described in the Habits of Good Society published in 1859, which insisted a lady's demeanour must be a perfect blend of grace and restraint. You try to mimic her, straightening your spine despite the pain, your gloved hands resting in your lap, clutching your reticule as if it could anchor you. The clock on the mantel ticks loudly, each second a reminder of James's imminent arrival, and you feel a wave of dizziness, your vision blurring from the belladonna, your body protesting the hours spent in this suffocating attire. The Lancet in 1860 noted that such symptoms, dizziness, blurred vision, fainting, were common among corseted women, yet they were celebrated as signs of delicate femininity, a standard you're forced to meet. You reach for your smelling salts, their sharp ammonia scent cutting through the haze, grounding you for a moment. But the dread remains, a heavy weight in your chest. A knock at the door startles you, and Clara hurries to answer, returning with James Langley, his presence filling the room like a storm cloud. He's impeccably dressed, his black coat tailored to perfection, his cravat crisp, his dark hair slicked back. But his smile doesn't reach his eyes, which scan you with a cool intensity. Mrs. Whitmore, Miss Whitmore, he says, bowing slightly, his voice smooth but controlled as if every word is calculated. Beatrice rises, her smile practiced, and gestures for him to sit. Mr. Langley, how kind of you to call, she says, her tone warm but strategic, a mother maneuvering for her daughter's future. You murmur a greeting, your voice barely audible, the corset stealing your breath, and he nods, his eyes lingering on your pale face, your cinched waist. As if appraising a piece of property, the conversation begins, a delicate dance of pleasantries, with Beatrice leading, mentioning the weather, the success of Lady Langley's recent ball, the prospects of the season. James responds politely, his words measured, but you feel his attention on you, a weight heavier than the crinoline. You try to focus, to smile, to nod at the right moments, but your mind races, Eleanor's memories mixing with your modern horror at what's coming. Marriage in 1860, as described in the Englishwoman's Review, was a contract, not a choice, a transaction that bound women to men under the law of coverture, stripping them of legal rights, their property, their autonomy. The thought makes your stomach churn, but you sit still, your hands trembling in your lap, the etiquette manuals demanding silence, compliance, perfection. Beatrice steers the conversation to the future, her voice bright but pointed. Eleanor has been much admired this season, Mr. Langley. Her management of our household is exemplary, she says, her eyes flicking to you, urging you to perform. You force a smile, your lips stiff from the lead powder, and murmur, "I do my best, sir," though the words feel like a betrayal of yourself. James nods, his smile tightening, and leans forward, his voice lowering. "Miss Whitmore, I've come to speak of a matter close to my heart," he says, and your breath catches, the corset making it impossible to hide your panic. "I believe our families share mutual interests, and I would be honored to request your hand in marriage." The words hang in the air, heavy as the fog outside, and you feel the room spin, your vision darkening at the edges. Beatrice's eyes light up, her smile triumphant, but you can't speak, can't move. Your body trapped in its layers, your mind screaming against a future you didn't choose. "Eleanor, Mr. Langley has made a most generous offer," Beatrice says, her tone a command. "And you know there's no refusal, no escape. The Married Women's Property Act, still a decade away, means marriage will erase your legal existence, your will subsumed under James's, as feminist writers like Josephine Butler would later argue in the 1860s. You nod, your voice a whisper. "I'm honored, sir," you say. The words automatic, Eleanor's training overriding your terror. James's smile widens, but it's cold, possessive, and you feel a chill that has nothing to do with the room's draft. The moment passes, the proposal accepted, and Beatrice takes charge, her voice brisk. "We'll begin preparations at once, Murdoch Langley. The wedding must be swift to secure the season's attention," she says, and he agrees, rising to leave, his bow stiff, his eyes lingering on you a moment too long. The door closes behind him, and you're left with Beatrice, her excitement palpable, her plans already forming. "This is a triumph, Eleanor. You'll outshine Isabel yet," she says, but her words feel hollow, a victory that costs you everything. The rest of the evening is a blur of preparations, Beatrice summoning Clara and Mrs. Carter, the housekeeper, to discuss the wedding. You're sent upstairs to try on a new corset, one designed for the wedding day. Its laces promising an even tighter 17-inch waist, a goal that makes your ribs ache just thinking about it. Clara unlaces your current corset, the brief relief of loosened stays a fleeting mercy. But the new one is worse, its whalebone and steel unyielding, its laces pulling so tightly. You feel your organs shift, your breath reduced to faint gasps. The British Medical Journal in 1861 warned of such tight lacing, documenting cases of collapsed lungs and deformed spines, but Beatrice insists, her voice firm. "Beauty requires sacrifice, Eleanor. Isabel's waist will be no match for yours," she says, and you nod, tears pricking your eyes hidden by the belladonna's haze. The wedding dress is next, a confection of white silk and lace, its weight staggering, its train designed to trail dramatically behind you. Fashion plates from Gaudy S. Lady S. book in 1860 praised such gowns as the pinnacle of elegance, but they never mentioned the exhaustion, the way the fabric chafes your skin, the way it traps heat until you feel you might faint. Clara adjusts the fit, her hands careful but relentless, pinning the fabric to mold to your unnatural shape. "You'll be a vision, miss," she says, her voice soft, but you can't share her enthusiasm. Your mind fixed on the life this dress represents, a life of submission, of silence, of surrender. Beatrice oversees every detail, choosing veils, gloves, and a bouquet of orange blossoms, symbols of purity and fertility, as noted in Cassell's Household Guide from the 1860s. The preparations continue, each task a reminder of your lack of control, your role reduced to that of a doll, dressed and posed for others' approval. As evening falls, you're joined by Amelia, your married friend, who arrives to offer advice. Her face pale, her eyes weary despite her smile. She sits with you in the drawing room, the fire casting flickering shadows, and speaks in a low voice, her words careful but heavy. "Marriage is a duty, Eleanor. You'll learn to manage it," she says, her tone hinting at unspoken struggles. You want to ask more, to understand the realities hidden behind her words. But Beatrice's presence silences you, her eyes warning against indiscretion. Amelia's advice is practical. drawn from etiquette manuals and her own experience how to manage a husband's temper, how to oversee servants, how to endure the marital bed. Her words are veiled as propriety demands, but they chill you. A glimpse of a future where your body, your will, belong to James. Feminist writers like Frances Power Cobbe in her 1860s essays described marriage as a gilded cage, a beautiful trap that confined women, and you feel that now the weight of the wedding dress heavier than the crinoline, the corset, the expectations combined. The preparations stretch late into the night, the house alive with activity, Clara and Mrs. Carter bustling to arrange fittings, invitations, a modest trousseau within your family's means. Beatrice discusses the guest list, her voice animated, mentioning Lady Langley, Isabel, and other society figures who must witness your triumph. You listen, your body aching, your mind numb. The corset's pressure a constant reminder of the life you're being laced into. You think of the modern world, where marriage is a choice, where you can say no, walk away, live on your own terms. Here, in 1860, refusal is unthinkable. A scandal that would ruin your family, as Mayhew's studies of fallen women warned. You feel a quiet awe for the women who faced these moments, their resilience a hidden fire beneath their delicate exteriors, their strength carrying them through proposals and preparations. They couldn't refuse. The clock strikes 10. It chimes soft but insistent, and Beatrice finally dismisses you, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Rest now, Eleanor. Tomorrow we continue, she says, and you nod, your legs trembling as you rise. The crinoline clanking, the corset stealing what little breath you have left. Clara helps you upstairs, her hands gentle as she unlaces the wedding corset. The relief fleeting as you realize tomorrow will bring it back, tighter, crueler. You slip into your nightdress, the fabric thin and cold, and collapse onto the lumpy straw mattress, the musty scent of mildew filling your nose. The arsenic wallpaper glows faintly in the moonlight, a reminder of the poison that surrounds you. In the air, in your cosmetics, in the life you're being forced to accept. You lie there, your body aching, your mind racing, wondering what the wedding day will bring, what James's cold smile hides, what your future holds. The house settles around you, the creak of floorboards fading, the gas lamps dimming, the city outside quieting into a restless sleep. You think of the women who endured these nights, their courage a quiet strength that carried them through proposals, weddings, lives they didn't choose. Imagine their endurance, their silent resolve as you drift towards sleep. Picture the soft flicker of gaslight, the rustle of silk, the distant hum of a city cloaked in fog. What will Eleanor face on her wedding day? Can she find strength in a world that demands her surrender? Let those questions settle gently in your mind, the story flowing onward, carrying you deeper into this Victorian night. Picture yourself lying in a cold, dimly lit bedroom, the lumpy straw mattress creaking beneath you, the faint musty scent of mildew mingling with the chemical tang of arsenic-laced wallpaper, its eerie green glow catching the moonlight. You're Eleanor Whitmore, a young woman in 1860 London, your body exhausted from a day of suffocating rituals, toxic beauty routines, a crushing 19-inch corset, a heavy crinoline, and a blue gown that weighed you down through tense breakfasts, meticulous household duties, perilous shopping trips on Bond Street, and a nerve-wracking marriage proposal from James Langley, whose cold smile still haunts you. The preparations for your wedding, now just hours away, have left you drained. The new 17-inch corset tried on last night a promise of even greater constraint. The white silk wedding dress a beautiful cage you can't escape. As dawn approaches, you face the culmination of this Victorian day, a wedding that binds you to a life you didn't choose, under the watchful eyes of your mother Beatrice, Lady Langley, and a society that demands your perfection. As we drift to the close of this soothing tale crafted to guide you gently towards sleep, let the soft flicker of candlelight, the distant toll of church bells, and the faint rustle of silk envelop you like a lullaby. If you found peace in this journey, sinking into the past as your breath slows, consider subscribing to our channel to join us for more stories that carry you into the night. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, let the modern world fade, and imagine yourself as Eleanor, stepping into a day where every moment is a performance, yet a quiet strength carries you through. The morning begins with a sharp knock at your door, Clara's voice soft but urgent. "Miss Eleanor, it's time," she says, and you stir, your body aching from the previous day's trials. Your mind heavy with dread. The room is colder than ever, the fire long dead, and you shiver as you sit up. The thin night dress offering no warmth. Clara lights a candle, its flame casting trembling shadows on the arsenic wallpaper, a reminder of the poison that surrounds you in the air, in your cosmetics, in the life you're about to enter. The Lancet in 1857 warned of Shields green, linking it to chronic illnesses. Yet it remains a fashionable choice, as inescapable as the wedding awaiting you. Clara helps you into a fresh chemise. It's cotton cool against your skin, and you brace for the new corset. Its 17-inch waist a cruel demand. "Arms up, miss," Clara says, her hands gentle but firm, wrapping the corset around your torso. The whalebone and steel unyielding. The first tug of the laces steals your breath, a sharp pain radiating through your ribs, your stomach, your lungs, as if your very life is being squeezed out. "I can't breathe," you gasp, your voice faint, trembling, but Clara continues, her voice soothing. "Just a bit tighter, miss." Your mother insists on 17 inches for the wedding. Isabel Langley's waist was 18 at her engagement. The comparison stings, as always, and you grip the bedpost, your gloved hands trembling as the laces pull tighter, your vision darkening at the edges. The British Medical Journal in 1861 documented the dangers of such tight-lacing collapsed lungs. Displaced organs, fainting spells, yet it's a mark of beauty and necessity for the day's spectacle. There we are, 17 inches exactly, Clara says, tying off the laces, and you feel like a doll, reshaped into an impossible ideal, your breath reduced to shallow gasps, your body no longer your own. The crinoline comes next, a larger, more elaborate cage of steel hoops, designed to make your wedding dress a vision of grandeur, but its weight drags at your hips, making every step a challenge. Petticoats follow, layer upon layer of starched cotton. They rustle like a storm of leaves. And then the wedding dress itself, a heavy confection of white silk and lace, its long train trailing behind you like a chain. Godey's Lady's Book in 1860 praised such gowns as the pinnacle of elegance, but they never mentioned the exhaustion, the way the fabric chafes your skin, the way it traps heat until you feel you might collapse. Clara adjusts the fit, her pins pricking your skin, and you wince, the pain a sharp counterpoint to the corset's constant pressure. The veil is next, a delicate web of lace studded with orange blossoms, symbols of purity and fertility, as noted in Cassell's Household Guide from the 1860s. Its weight pulling at your scalp where steel pins secure it. Your face, already pale from arsenic and lead powder, is dusted with more, the lead settling like a soft poison on your skin. Your eyes burning from fresh belladonna drops to maintain that wide, vulnerable look. You glance in the mirror, the cloudy glass reflecting a stranger pale, fragile, beautiful by Victorian standards, but breaking apart inside. Clara steps back, her eyes soft. "You're a vision, miss," she says, but the words feel hollow, your reflection a mask you can't remove. Beatrice enters, her grey dress severe, her expression a mix of triumph and scrutiny. "Perfect, Eleanor. You'll outshine them all," she says, her eyes sweeping over you, searching for flaws. "Lady Langley and Isabel will be watching. Don't disappoint me." The weight of her words presses harder than the corset, and you nod, your throat tight, your heart pounding against the whalebone stays. The carriage ride to the church is a blur, the fog still thick outside, its yellow-brown haze seeping through the cracks, the acrid scent of coal smoke stinging your nose. Charles Dickens described this fog in Bleak House as a soft black drizzle, a toxic shroud that killed thousands yearly, as public health reports from the 1860s confirmed, and it makes your shallow breaths even harder to draw. The church looms ahead, its stone facade grim in the fog, its bells tolling softly, a sound both solemn and oppressive. You step out, the crinoline catching on the carriage door, and Beatrice steadies you, her grip firm. "Chin up, Eleanor." A lady does not falter, she says, and you obey. Though your legs tremble, your vision blurs, and the corset feels like it might crush you. Inside, the church is cold, the air heavy with incense and wax. The pews filled with faces Lady Langley, Isabel, their eyes sharp, judging your father Charles, his expression distant, your sister Emily, her face pale with sympathy. James Langley stands at the altar, his black suit immaculate, his smile cold, his eyes fixed on you like a predator's. The ceremony begins, the vicar's voice, a low drone reciting vows that bind you. Under the law of coverture, stripping you of legal rights, your property, your autonomy as feminist. Writers like Josephine Butler would later decry in the 1860s. You repeat the words, your voice barely audible, each one a surrender, a step into a life you didn't choose. I do, you say, and James's hand takes yours, his grip firm, possessive, sealing your fate. The congregation murmurs approval, but you feel only the corset's grip, the veil's weight, the poison in your veins. The reception follows at Lady Langley's grand home. A blur of toasts, clinking glasses, and forced smiles. You stand beside James, your arm in his, the crinoline making movement impossible, the corset stealing your breath as you nod to guests, their congratulations ringing hollow. Isabel approaches, her smile polite but sharp, her 18-inch waist a silent challenge. You make a lovely bride, Eleanor, she says, her tone laced with condescension, and you murmur thanks, your lips stiff from lead powder. Beatrice beams, her triumph complete, but you feel like a marionette, pulled by strings you can't see. The food is lavish roast pheasant, delicate pastries, champagne, but the corset makes eating impossible, each bite a struggle. As etiquette manuals, like the habits of good society, demanded, a lady appeared disinterested in food. You sip champagne, its bubbles sharp on your tongue, and force a smile, though your vision blurs, your head pounds, and the room feels like it's closing in. The dancing begins, a waltz, and James leads you to the floor, his hand firm on your waist, his smile never reaching his eyes. The crinoline sways dangerously, the corset making each step a battle, and you move stiffly, your body screaming for air, for freedom. The music, a soft violin, is beautiful, but it feels like a mockery, a reminder of the life you're now bound to. Guests watch, their eyes judging your grace, your poise, comparing you to Isabel, who dances with effortless elegance across the room. The habits of good society emphasize that a lady's dancing was a measure of her refinement, and you feel that pressure now, your every movement scrutinized, your every breath a struggle. A wave of dizziness hits, and you falter, James's grip tightening, his voice low, steady, Eleanor. You're my wife now, he says, the words a claim, not a comfort. You nod, pulling out your smelling salts, their ammonia scent grounding you. But the reality of his words sinks in your his, legally, irrevocably, under a system that offers no escape. The night drags on, the reception a haze of faces, voices, and expectations, until finally, you're ushered to a carriage, James beside you, the fog thicker now, the city a blur of gaslight and shadow. The ride to his home, your new home, is silent, his presence oppressive, his hand resting on yours like a weight. The house is grander than your family's, its halls lined with more arsenic wallpaper, its air heavy with wax and coal smoke. Clara, reassigned to serve you here, helps you upstairs, unlacing the wedding corset with gentle hands. The relief fleeting as you realize tomorrow will bring it back, perhaps tighter still. You slip into a nightdress, the fabric thin and cold, and lie in a strange bed, its mattress softer but unfamiliar, James's footsteps echoing in the hall. He doesn't come to you tonight, a small mercy, but you know the marital duties Amelia hinted at loom. A reality feminist writers like Frances Power Cobbe described as a woman's ultimate surrender. You stare at the ceiling, the arsenic wallpaper glowing faintly, and feel a quiet despair. Your life now defined by James's will, your mother's ambitions, society's rules. Yet, beneath the despair, a spark of resilience flickers, a strength you draw from the women who came before you, who navigated these lives with courage. Their voices silenced, but their endurance a testament to their power. You think of the match girl's trembling hand, the suffragist's bold cries, your sister Emily's sympathetic glance, and you realize you're not alone, even in this cage. The Married Women's Property Act, still years away, would give women some rights, but for now, you carry on like countless others, finding ways to endure, to resist in small, quiet ways. As the house settles, the creak of floorboards fading, the gas lamps dimming, You feel a strange peace, a connection to those women, their strength flowing through you. You think of the modern world, where you could choose your path, wear comfortable clothes, speak freely. And you hold that image like a talisman, a reminder that this life, though binding, is not the end. The church bells toll in the distance, their sound soft, soothing, a final note in this long day. You've survived the poisons, the corset, the wedding, the weight of a society that demands your perfection. And you've done it with a grace you didn't know you had. Imagine those women, their quiet fire, their hidden strength as you drift towards sleep. Picture the soft glow of moonlight on silk, the faint toll of bells, the gentle rustle of a city at rest. Eleanor's day is done, her story a testament to endurance, a whisper of hope in a world of constraint. Let this tale carry you into the night, a reminder of the resilience that lives in us all. As you sink deeper into your pillows, the past fading gently, leaving only the peace of sleep.